Tropical Storm Melissa has officially formed, and let's just say this is going to be a hard one to forecast. Yeah, it definitely is. But here's a look at infrared. You can tell we have a lot more spin today and a lot more convection. And Melissa is moving very, very, very slowly to the west northwest. So that is what is making this one pretty difficult to track and predict. And here is the latest NHC cone. And this X back here is where Melissa is currently. And you can tell here, our cone of uncertainty is kind of just this whole area, this whole circle. This is just going to definitely be a hard one. You can tell we do have a hurricane watch actually over here near Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And although Jamaica is in the hurricane cone of uncertainty, we do have a tropical storm watch, as there are multiple scenarios that could come out of this, and I will talk about those here in a minute. But like I said, this is going to be a tricky one to forecast. As you can tell, our cone of uncertainty for 4 to 5 days out is pretty much covering the area for 1 to 3 days. So just make sure you keep it here, and I will keep you posted. And now here's a look at what we could see Melissa do. And there are a couple scenarios at play, and I'm going to go over all those. One of which is it just makes a pretty fast turn out here to the northeast and does not cause any problems to the mainland United States. Another one is it kind of comes over here to the west and stalls out, and then from which it could take a track up towards Florida or even just to the south of Florida. Our other scenarios, it goes through Central America. This one is less likely, and honestly the chances are increasing for one of these three scenarios. Although it still is on the lower side over here, the chances are on the rise, so we definitely need to be watching that. And here's actually the latest on what Melissa could do on latest model runs. As you can tell here, GFS still has it making that northeastward turn. Although here in a minute, whenever we look at the ensembles, I do want to say things are definitely changing. So that is what latest GFS is showing. And here's the GEFS ensemble member. And right here you tell we have our hurricane is going to continue to move. But you can tell here, we have a very large variety of where this could go. You can tell most of all our ensemble members are to the west now, instead of taking this out to the northeast. So we're definitely watching this. Now as we go farther out, it does get a bit more uncertain. You can tell some of them are scattered over here. Others have Melissa that's already is gone in the northern Atlantic. And we still have a few over here, the stalling out scenarios that have been on the rise and bringing this closer to Florida. So we are watching this one very closely, and like I said, this is going to be a difficult one to track. And here's a look at all of our spaghetti models. You can tell here, there is this one that brings it right through Tampa at around a category 4 to 5 hurricane. Now take that with a grain of salt, as you can tell here. This is the only spaghetti model that is taking it through there. I will say a lot of the spaghetti models still have this steering out to the northeast, but there still are actually quite a few more that are growing with a more westerly stall and then taking it up near Florida. So if you are in Florida, make sure you are getting ready now. And here's the landfall chances, and keep in mind all areas are subject to change. You can tell here I have a low chance from portions of Louisiana, places like New Orleans, up along the Gulf into Florida, even up through places like North Carolina with a low chance. Down here in South Florida, I have actually added a moderate chance of landfall. Like I said, all areas are subject to change, so just make sure you're checking in daily. We will likely have a video early tomorrow morning with an update on where Melissa could track. And here are your hurricane threats. Tornadoes, some of which can be strong. Winds can exceed 175 miles an hour, and storm surge can be up to 20 plus feet. You're going to be seeing this a lot in my videos in the future until Melissa poses no threat to the United States. And here's your hurricane action plan. Although it is only a tropical storm now, we are still expecting Melissa to become a hurricane and potentially a major hurricane. Now, the model intensity charts, they were having problems today, so I couldn't pull those up. But I assume most of those have that around category 2 to 3 sets, with some potentially pushing for 4 or 5. Here's your hurricane action plan. Monitor the forecast, tell family and friends, know what to do in case of a real threat, and confirm you have your reliable source 5 to 7 days out. We are currently in the green zone. But here soon we are going to be making that move into the orange, or the yellow, I should say. We're still going to monitor forecasts, make sure family and friends know, go over your plan, and make sure to grab essentials and check with your reliable source. Then there is the chance that we would push to this red, which would be have multiple ways to receive alerts. Check hourly from your source, do not leave, and confirm with everyone you know what to do if and when a warning comes through. Now, on the do not leave part, that does not mean if you were told to evacuate, it means, no, I need to stay here. If you were told to evacuate, get out, but if it's the day of, it's too late. So, on the day of, do not leave. Now, you should have already left if you were told to evacuate, but if for some reason you didn't, do not leave on the day of. And here we are, severe weather side of things. We'd actually get a marginal risk added today in portions of Ohio and Michigan for some damaging wind, potentially even tell no tornado risk. We do have that 5% damaging wind risk here, and we do have no hail risk too. Although I would not rule out potentially maybe an isolated hail or even back here in western Ohio when storms initially fire. A bit surprised we don't have a marginal risk back there. So we'll watch maybe closer to Dayton, but overall severe risk does look to remain pretty low today. Moving on to tomorrow, no severe risk. But let's just say things are going to be changing as we head throughout the rest of this week. As we head on to Thursday, we do have quite the large marginal risk of severe weather in play. Damaging winds, large hail, and even a brief tornado I think is going to be possible on Thursday, and I will go over why in a few minutes. Now, here's a look at what storms could do today. And storms are going to fire within the next 3 to 4 hours. You can tell here in western Ohio and eastern Indiana and push their way into Ohio. And they're going to move to the east with this damaging wind threat, mainly potentially a hail threat. Very low end, but I would not rule out seeing a few hailstones up to quarter size today. And as those move out, our severe threat is going to die down. I would not rule out up here near Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania or New York, kind of near Buffalo, to see potentially a damaging wind threat evolve tomorrow with these storms that are coming off the water. So just make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts for if a warning does come through. And here we are looking at the jet stream. What is causing this current system that we are seeing in Ohio? It's because we have a low pressure system up here, and it is creating some pretty strong flow through here, westerly flow, and it is aligning for that damaging wind risk in that area. So we're definitely watching that, and as we continue, this low is going to continue to move off. And this is why I would not be surprised if we did maybe get a brief damaging wind threat tomorrow with those storms that come off the water. So we're definitely going to watch, but then our eyes turn to this next system back here on this shortwave trough to the west, as that is going to potentially promote some severe weather across this area, even across this area. So we're watching multiple days of severe weather here for the future. And here's our shortwave trough. Timing is going to be key. If this is to speed up some more, I would definitely see some more significant, maybe not significant, but higher end severe weather in that area. Now, if it kind of stays how it is right now, I do think we are going to see low end severe threat across this area. And we'll still have to watch, but the threat, like I said, is going to be much lower if it stays like this, because timing is just key. And it's honestly not too crazy of a setup. And as we head into next week, though, I do have something I want to show, and it is right here. This is, now keep in mind, this is a week out, but something that we need to watch is this has been a very consistent signal. This right here is a very steep negatively tilted trough. This would promote multiple days of severe weather across a very large area, probably. And this would bring the risk of damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes, some of which could be strong. Now, it is way too early to get into specifics about this. And I just wanted to show you that, as this has been a consistent signal. And honestly, if this were to shape out, I would not rule out very widespread severe weather over between Wednesday and Friday of next week across that area. Could be even a little further to the north across this area. So just make sure you are watching my videos, watching other people's videos, just to make sure you are caught up with the latest. And here, as we push the jet stream out farther, it kind of just looks like it is going to kind of remain in a uncertain pattern, very favorable for multiple severe events back here in the plains, along with up here in the Midwest and Ohio Valley. So just make sure you are staying tuned. And as we head here to radar, here's our system. And here's we head into Thursday. Like I said, timing is key here. You can tell our trough is a bit behind, which really limits our overall severe potential. It does look like Friday into Saturday we may get a bit of a more organized system back there in Texas and southern Oklahoma. That would be damaging winds and large hail is the main threat, but a brief tornado cannot be ruled out if that were to happen. As we head into next week, this is another big thing. You can tell we have some very close isobars here, and that is promoting some pretty strong winds. You can tell our jet stream is kind of just across this area, that dip that we were having, and it is going to set up for that very large scale severe weather risk. As we move forward, you can tell storms just erupt from southern Minnesota back towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, very large area that we're watching, and I would not rule out that being a very significant severe threat if this were to align. And with this, we could see our first snowstorm for northern Iowa and into Minnesota, too. So, the weather, it's about to get wonky, that is for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And the last thing I wanted to remind you guys about is WWWFC is open, and it has radar and the confidence outlook. And if you guys haven't checked today, I have added a low risk of severe weather. This will be expired by the time that you guys see this video, but go ahead and head over after this video is done here in a few moments, and I will have a new risk out for you guys to see. So, yet again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.